Okay, so I think we're going to make a start now because it's more or less 12 o'clock. So yeah, really, really warm welcome if you're just tuning in. And yeah, if it's your first session with us, then really, really warm welcome. And if you've been before, then thank you for coming back. My name's Anna, and I'm one of the teachers here at the London Buddhist Centre, the yoga teachers. And I know that some of the rest of our team are tuning in. Shradagita and Garbhavati and Danu Tar is out there as well. And so we're going to practice together for 45 minutes. And we'll start with just a very short sit. And I'm going to start by reading a quote to you from the Dhammapada, which is one of the earliest collections of teachings from the Pali canon. So it's an ancient collection of Buddhist texts. And this little, the little couple of lines that I'm going to read, it's about the mind. So I'll read those couple of lines and then I'll say one or two things and then we'll start. Well, we have started and we'll start to get into the practice. So this is on the chapter called The Mind. And it goes like this. The mind is frivolous and difficult to control, alighting on whatever it pleases. It is good to tame the mind. A tamed mind brings happiness. I'll read that again. The mind is frivolous and difficult to control, alighting on whatever it pleases. It is good to tame the mind. A tamed mind brings happiness. So this is definitely something I've been reflecting on recently. This sense of the mind being frivolous and difficult to control. And it's definitely giving me an opportunity to work with the mind. And I think in general, this very unusual situation that we all find ourselves in, it does present an opportunity to work with the mind. And I think that the part about taming the mind, it is good to tame the mind. You might be thinking, well, that sounds like a nice idea, but how does that work? And often it's when we sit to meditate or we sit to do yoga that we realise quite how busy the mind is. And that in itself is work. That in itself is the practice, is to notice how busy the mind is, and to bring some awareness to that. It's not necessarily about painful or distracted. It's more about bringing awareness to it. And the thing about yoga, or one of the things about yoga that I really like, is it gives us a very tangible opportunity to work and to focus the attention in the body and in the breath. So we'll just sit for just a moment and I'll guide us through just an awareness of body, and then we'll start to move. So yeah, do find yourselves in a comfortable seat. Close your eyes. And then just allow yourself to settle into the body, settle into your posture. And just feel the weight of the body in the seat, on the ground. The heaviness through the sitting bones. And then a little bit of a rising of the spine, the neck, crown of the head, up towards the sky. Just taking a moment to just notice the quality of your attention. Does the mind feel frivolous and scattered? Or does it feel a little bit more spacious? Just taking the time to draw your awareness to the quality of the mind. And then, as best you can, just seeing if you can edge yourself away from being drawn into stories and spirals of thought. Just seeing if you can allow yourself to notice how the thoughts feel, how they manifest in the body. So as best you can, just shifting the awareness into the body. And then you can keep your eyes closed for this next bit if you like. Just going to make our way down into child's pose. So you can take the knees quite wide, settle the hips down towards the heels, take the forehead towards the floor or down to the floor. And then just start to stretch the fingertips forwards. So again, feeling just the heaviness through the sitting bones, the heaviness through the pelvis, the heaviness through the head. And start to notice the breath here. So noticing perhaps the stretching of the abdomen against the thighs as you breathe in. And a subtle drawing in of the belly towards the spine as you breathe out. And then for the last couple of breaths, you can imagine that there are hands on your back, perhaps just below the shoulder blades. One on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side. And imagine that you're breathing into those hands. Because we've got a lot of space, the lungs have got a lot of space in the back of the body. We don't often think about that. We don't often feel that. Good. And then from here, keeping the hips quite heavy. So stay in child's pose, but just inch the fingertips a little bit further forwards. Lift the head, and then walk your fingertips over towards the top right-hand corner of your mat. And then reach a little bit more with your left hand. So the left hand is trying to overshoot the right. And then you can take the forehead back down towards the ground between your shoulders. The left hip, the left sitting bone is really heavy. Then reach a little bit further forwards and to the right through your left hand. So it's a side stretch. Good, and then ease your way back through center and make your way to the other side. So walk your hands over towards the top left. Lift the head a little bit if you like, and then walk your right hand slightly further than your left. And then take the forehead down to or towards the ground. And just breathing into the right side body. Good, and then when you're ready, make your way back up to center, and this time come up to hands and knees. And just spread the fingers out nice and wide. Let's do a couple of cat-cows just to release out the pelvis. So as you breathe in, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, look forwards. And as you breathe out, bow the tailbone down, round the spine, relax the head. Belly draws slightly in. So as you breathe in, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, look forwards. Breathe out, press the floor away as you round the spine. Good. Okay. And then from here, come back into a neutral spine. And then take your right leg back behind you with the right toes facing the ground just for a moment. Good. And now your right toes are going to travel towards the bottom left-hand corner of your mat. Yeah, so it's going to cross over the left side. And then press the ball of the right foot down onto the ground. Try not to let your right hip lift up. Good. And then we're going to make a semicircle from here. So lift up the right toes. We'll do this a few times. And then start to bend the right knee and take the right knee out to the side. Try to touch your right elbow and then bring the right knee across the body. Try to touch the left elbow. Good. And then do the same bit in reverse. So swing the right knee out towards the right hand side, around and back, straighten the leg, and then touch the right toe towards the left hand side of the mat. Yeah? Or not on the mat, it'll be probably on the ground outside the left hand side of the mat. So a couple more times. Big semicircle out to the right and then around across the body towards the left. And then out towards the right, extend the leg and cross it over towards the left-hand side. Big circle with the right hip. Last one. Good. And then from there, just bring the right knee back down. So you've got 2 hands, 2 knees down. And just take a breath in here. And just notice if the 2 sides of your body feel different from one another. If you need to come back into child's pose, just roll out the wrists for a moment, then that's a good option. Good, and then we'll take the second side. So you really have to recruit the rest of your body to support you as you come into this asymmetrical posture. So left leg goes back, left toes point down towards the ground. And then swing the left leg towards the right, left toes come down towards the ground. Press into the heel a little bit for a moment. Good, and then press both hands down into the ground, lift the left toes up, and then swing the left knee out towards the left, graze the left elbow, and then bring the knee under the body towards the right. Yeah? And then do the opposite. And you don't need to lift the leg up too high. In fact, it's probably better if you don't. Yeah? If you keep it more or less in line with your left hip. Knee towards left elbow, across the body towards the right, and then swing the leg around and back. Try to keep breathing. Toes touch the ground, a little tap. Good, and then last one, so big circle. And then around and back. Toes touch the floor. And then 2 knees come down to the ground. Lovely. Make your way forwards and down onto the belly. Hands come underneath the shoulders, tops of the feet press down. Press the pubic bone down into the ground. And then just come into a really light little low cobra, shoulders back, elbows in, crown of the head forwards. And then, like a wave, just come down to the ground. Press to hands and knees, and this time tuck your toes under and lift yourselves into downward facing dog from here. So spread the fingers out nice and wide. Press the hands strongly down into your mat and a little bit forwards. And as you press your hands down forwards, can you lift your sitting bones, the tailbone, up and back? So you find a real length through the sides of your body and through the spine. You might find this a little bit easier if you bend your knees. Yeah, and then you can really focus on finding that length through the side waist. Head is nice and heavy. And you can take any little movements that feel good in your body that help you to find a little bit more space. See if you can really anchor your awareness in the points of contact between your body and the ground. Anchor the awareness in your steady gaze, in your breath. Good, and then look forwards and step the right foot through to between your hands. You can help it along its way if you need to. Take the left knee to the ground, pad it up if you need to. Lift the chest. Good, take the hands onto your hips, just pull them slightly back. Front of the hips slightly up. Back thigh is really strong. And then take your arms up over your head. Reach up through your fingertips. Really root down through the top of your back foot. And then bend your left elbow. And take your right hand to the tip of the elbow and draw the elbow slightly in and slightly up. So you can imagine, if you like, a long line right up the left thigh, all the way up the left side body, up to the left elbow, and that's just sort of extending up towards the ceiling. Good. And then release the arms, take them up towards the ceiling. And then take the hands down and take the left hand and place it on your right thigh. Slide the right foot slightly further forwards. This is a bit unusual, so you might need to listen carefully. Your right fingertips are going to come to the ground, somewhere between your right heel and your right hip. Yeah? And then turn the chest a bit towards the right. And then reach the left arm over and up. Look down towards the ground. Drop the hips slightly forwards. Turn the chest to the right. So big side opener for the left side. Lovely. And then release your left hand down towards the ground. Reach the right arm up. Stay here or tuck your back toes under and lift the left knee away from the ground. Lean into it. Lean back a little bit so you're opening the chest around towards the ceiling. Good. And then right hand comes down to the ground outside the right foot. Step back into downward facing dog from there. Have a breath or two. Again, see if you can connect in with that sense of the side body lengthening. As the hands press down, the tailbone lifts up. Good. And then let's take those on the second side. So big step forwards with your left foot. Right knee comes down towards the ground. Okay. Hands onto your hips for a moment. And then just for this first one, pull the hips a little bit back in space. And then press down through the top of your back foot. Reach your arms up over your head. And then bend into your right elbow. Left hand comes to the tip of your right elbow and draws it slightly in and slightly up. So long line between your right knee and your right elbow. Couple of breaths. Keep pressing the back foot down into the ground. Good, and then release, take the arms up. Hands come down. And then right hand comes onto your left thigh. Shift the left foot slightly forwards and then lean the hips slightly forwards as well. Left fingertips come down to the ground. So you'll have to lean forwards quite a bit here. Yeah, if you've got a block at home, you might want to use a block here. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if you have to lean quite a lot to the side to get this. And then right arm is going to reach up and over towards the left side. There's a temptation to roll out onto the outer left foot. Try not to let that happen. So big reach over through that right arm. Good, and then coming all the way up. And then hands come down to the ground. Right hand stays rooted. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Stay as you are, or tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. And then a little bit lean back. Yeah, so lean the chest away from your front knee and let the chest open. Good. And then left hand comes down to the ground. Sweep back into downward facing dog from here. Take a nice steady breath in and a long breath out. Good, and then come high onto your tiptoes and roll yourselves forwards, come into a plank pose from there. Just have a few breaths. So press the hands strongly down into the ground. Try and broaden your shoulder blades. Lengthen out through the crown of your head, draw the belly in. Are you breathing? Good. And then take the knees to the ground and slowly come all the way down to the ground, interlace the hands behind your back. So I don't have a name for this posture. It's kind of like a bit of a seal flop or something. Your forehead's going to be on the ground, and then you're going to roll to the outside of your left shoulder, and then start to draw the fists away from your body, but try and keep both hips grounded. I hope you can sort of see. Yeah, so try not to roll off your right hip, 2 hips down. Yeah, and then come back through center and take it over to the other side. I think I'm being filmed for Instagram. Okay. And then when you're ready, come all the way back through center. So hopefully that got into the front of your shoulders a little bit and you didn't feel too silly. Good. And then ease your way back into downward facing dog. Okay. Now let's come into a couple of standing postures. Step the right foot through to between your hands. Spin on the ball of the back foot, ground the back heel, come into warrior 2, have a few breaths here. Yeah, so sit low into that front thigh. Press into your back foot. Look over your front middle finger. Again, see if you can anchor your awareness in the body, in the feet, in the legs, in the arms. Notice how certain sensations will be vying for your attention and how this might cause certain mental events to happen. Oh, I don't like this pose. When is she going to make us get out of it? Okay, so we're going to come into reverse warrior from here. Flip your front palm and reach it up towards the ceiling. Just let your back hand rest on your back thigh. And then we'll come in for a variation. So bend your right elbow and take your right hand to the left side of your head, like you're trying to touch your left ear. And then lift that right elbow up a little bit and let your head be supported by your hand. Yeah, so you might feel a bit of a shoulder opener here on the right side. Good. And then come up, come through center, straighten your front leg, shuffle the back toes a little bit in, and then come down into triangle pose. So right hand comes down to the ground, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling, and then similar, but on the second side. So if you can get your right hand down to the ground or onto a block, then that might give you a bit more stability. And then we're going to reach the left arm, the top arm, towards the front of the room and let the left side of your body curve up towards the ceiling. Yeah? Let the underside of your body shorten. Then bend your left elbow and bring the left hand to the right side of your head. So again, this time you're cradling the other side of your head. Yeah? And then a little bit, turn the chest down towards the ground. And so it's a bit unusual, a little bit technical, But if you get it, if you get the side stretch, then it's a really lovely, I think it's a really nice posture. Okay, and then soften into your front knee and take both hands down to the ground. Pivot on the ball of the back foot. Step back into downward facing dog from there. And again, just feel the hands and feet pressing the ground. You might notice that one side feels different from the other now as we're halfway through this, this little standing section. Okay, and then we'll take that on the second side. So when you're ready, step the left foot through to between your hands, spin on the back foot, and come into warrior two from there. So arms come out wide. Front knee bends over front ankle. Back leg nice and straight, nice and strong. Gaze is over the front middle finger, but you want lots of awareness in that the back side of the body, the side that you can't see. So can you have an awareness of your right hand, your right foot in space? Feel the feet, feel the legs. Feel the arms. And the breath. Okay, and then flip that, that left hand and reach it up towards the ceiling or the sky. Right hand rests on your right leg. Keep bending into that front knee. And then bend your left elbow and try to catch the far side of your head. And then just let the head be a bit supported by your hand. And so lean into it, lean into the support of your hand. Good. And then from there, press into both feet. Come back up to that T position. Straighten your front leg. Shuffle the back toes slightly in. Reach forwards. And then tip down. Left hand down, either to your shin, maybe onto a block, or down to the ground. Good, and then same thing. So start to reach your right arm towards the front of the room, or the space, and then bend your right elbow and catch the left side of your head. And then let the left ribs round up towards the ceiling a little bit. And then start to turn your chest just slightly down towards the mat. Try to keep pressing into the big toe side of your left foot. Good. And then soften your front knee. Take both hands down to the ground. And step back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in where you are. And a long breath out. Just settle the gaze. Settle the breath. If you'd rather take child's pose, you can take child's pose. And just again noticing the quality of the attention here. Where is the mind being drawn to? So if you're resting in child's pose, just think about coming to meet us back in downward facing dog. And we're going to reach the right leg up and back. So come into a three-legged dog. And then bend the right knee and allow the right hip to turn out to the right. Lift the right knee up. Good, and then look forwards and step the right foot through to between your hands. Again, you can help it along its way if you need to. High on the ball of the back foot. We're going to come into a high lunge from here. Also lift your arms up over the head. Bend the front knee deeply. Strong through the back thigh. And then palms come together in front of the heart. Lean the body forwards so that the chest is in line with the back leg. And then come into a twist. So hook the left elbow outside the right thigh. Yeah, if it's too much, back knee can come to the ground. That's a really good option. And then from there, again, a little bit, turn the chest and lean slightly back. So it's almost like you're doing a little back bend with your chest here. And see if you can hug your right hip in, firm the left thigh up. Good. And then look down at the ground, 2 hands come down. Downward facing dog from here. Good, and then between sides, just roll forwards, come into a plank pose. Either take the knees to the ground or lower them, but we'll all come all the way down to the ground. This time, come into Sphinx pose. So prop yourself up on your forearms, elbows underneath your shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. And then lift the chest. Try to press the pubic bone down into the ground, but lift the belly away from the ground. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Take a breath in, shoulders back. Feel the shoulder blades drawing towards one another. Good. And then elbows out to the side. Come all the way to the ground. Hands under shoulders, tuck your toes. Good. And then come back into downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide. Second side, so left leg lifts up and back this time. And then bend the left knee and allow the left hip to turn out to the left. Squeeze the left heel in. Look forwards. Left foot steps through to between your hands. High lunge from here, lift your arms up. Firm through the back thigh. Palms come together in front of the chest. Lean the body forwards. Good, and then hook, right elbow, outside left knee. And then press your hands in towards one another. Rotate the chest around towards your right, your left. A little bit lean back if you can. Hug your right hip, the left hip in, and lift your right thigh slightly up. Good, and then look down towards the ground. Fingertips come down. Step back into downward facing dog from there. Spread the fingers wide. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of balancing now before we come down to the floor. So I'd like you to step your right foot through to between your hands once again and come back into a high lunge. Lift your arms up and then hands are going to come together in front of the chest. Lean the body forwards and come into warrior 3 from here. Yeah, so back leg is nice and strong. Good, and then remember what we did on our hands and knees right at the start. With that lifted leg, the left leg, semicircle out towards the left, come up to standing, release the hands, and then see if you can touch your left elbow, your left knee onto your right elbow. Good, and then big semicircle around and back. Left toes are going to touch the floor outside the right side, so 2 feet come down. Bend both knees a little bit, right hand down onto your left thigh, left arm reaches up and over towards the right. That's a bit of a mouthful, so we'll do it a couple more times. Arms out wide, so sweep your left leg back, and then semicircle, or not semicircle, full circle, elbow to knee. Yeah, and then around and back. You'll need to lean forwards a bit to counterbalance. 2 feet down, right hand down towards left leg. Reach over to the right. Last one, arms out wide. Lean forwards a little bit, big semicircle. Elbow to knee, stand up. Around and back. 2 feet down. Lean to your right. Good. And then this time, as you come up, step into a high lunge, lift your arms. Well done. Good. And then take your hands down to the ground. Downward facing dog. And just take a moment to feel your two sides. Feel the breath. Good. And then we'll take the second side from there. So if you found it difficult or if you're wobbling, that's really okay. Just have a go, do as much as you can. Lift your arms, high lunge. Palms come together in front of the chest. And you might find that one side feels really different from the other. Lean into warrior three. So that capital T position. Good. And then as you come up through standing, so you're lifting the right knee slightly as it connects with your left elbow across your body. Yeah, and then open out to the side. And then take the leg across to the back. So it's kind of like a curtsy. Bend both knees. Left arm down, right arm over. So it's a side stretch. Good. And then arms back out to that T position. Big circle. Bend the knee, come up to standing. Ooh. Elbow to knee. Good. And then open out once again. Try to keep your gaze steady now that you know what you're doing. Yeah, so you don't need to look at the screen. Good. Arms out wide. Knee to elbow. Good. And then last time into the side stretch. Okay. And then this time, just step back into a high lunge, lift your arms, well done. And then hands come down to the ground. Step back, drop the knees to the ground. And come back into child's pose. So forehead to the ground. Take a couple of breaths. Let yourself release into the floor. So there's a kind of letting go. You can be still, or you can gently move the hips from side to side. Just notice how the body feels. Notice how the breath is. Okay, we're almost there. So just looking forwards, slide your way out onto your belly from here. And then we're just going to take a locust pose without any interesting arm variations. And so just stretch the hands back towards your toes. Palms are going to face down. Lift the chest, the crown of your head. Let's have about 3 breaths. Good. And slowly come all the way down. Make a pillow of your palms. Forehead down on the hands. And just gently sway your hips from side to side. And then we're going to take one more of those. So one more locust. Lift the chest, arms back, legs lift, hands lift. Roll the shoulders back. Elongate through the back of your neck. Good. And then slowly lower down to the ground. And then from there, just make your way over onto your backs. Bend your knees. In fact, hug the knees into the chest. Take the knees out wide and then bring them back together. Eyes can close. So just feeling into the body. So you might like to stay like this. Or you can take any version of happy baby pose. So you can take the hands perhaps to the backs of the thighs. Or you might want to catch a hold of the outer edges of your feet. Try to keep pressing the sacrum, so the back of your pelvis, down into the ground, rather than the lower back. So the lower back can be quite light on the ground, but the pelvis is heavy. And if in grabbing your feet, you feel your neck sort of hunch up and the shoulders hunch up, then just take the backs of the thighs instead and draw the knees in towards your armpits. Good, and then one by one, just slide the legs out long. And really reach away through your heels. So reach away, slide the right heel away from you and then slide the left heel away. It's like your legs are getting longer. And then do the same with your arms. So reach your right fingertips away and then reach your left fingertips away. And then shimmy the shoulders apart so the upper back is really broad. Tuck the chin. Lengthen through the back of your neck. And close your eyes. And as you lie here, again, just awareness of where the mind is. And there's the opportunity there to redirect the attention into your body, into the sensations of the body. Perhaps there's a subtle tingling in the hands and the feet. Maybe a sensation of lightness or heaviness for you to just notice. And remember, every time you notice that you're distracted, or that you're nervous or upset, or that the mind has wandered off, that is the work, that is where the work is in the noticing. So if you can stay longer in Shavasana, then feel free to do so. Just stay lying down. Or if you're ready to move on, then Just bringing a bit of gentle movement back into your body. Perhaps opening the eyes and then closing them again, and opening them a few times. And then just making your way over onto your side, coming up to sitting. I'll just end by reading the same line that I started with. The mind is frivolous and difficult to control, alighting on whatever it pleases. It is good to tame the mind. A tamed mind brings happiness. The mind is frivolous and difficult to control, alighting on whatever it pleases. It is good to tame the mind. A tamed mind brings happiness. Sitting or lying down with your eyes closed, just for a last moment. Just allowing the body to absorb the effects of the practice. Grateful to yourselves for making the time to practice today. Well done. Often the hardest part is just making your way onto your mat. And as ever, we are really grateful that you choose to practice here with us. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in again, or if it was your first time, for tuning in and practicing with us here. Yeah, really, really lovely to have you. So there'll be Qigong tomorrow, and then yoga's back on Wednesday and again on Friday. And Qigong is on Thursday as well. And as many of you know, we do operate here on a culture of generosity, which means that all of these classes are available on a donation basis. If you are able to donate, then just follow the link underneath this video, and you can set up a monthly donation, or you can make a one-off donation. We rely on these donations to keep the centre running. So if you're able to contribute, if you feel so inclined, and if you're in a position to do so, then we really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I think we'll end it there. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope you all have a lovely day. Thanks to Tara. Bye.